In the misty fields of Ireland, a terrifying legend lurks in the shadows. The Dullahan, a headless horseman, gallops through the night on his jet-black steed. His decapitated head, held aloft in his hand, glows with an eerie light, allowing him to see for miles in the darkness. This fearsome creature is not just a tale to frighten children. It's a harbinger of death, deeply rooted in ancient Celtic mythology. As we delve into the origins of this chilling figure, we'll uncover the dark history that gave birth to one of Ireland's most feared supernatural entities. But beware, for merely speaking of the Dullahan may draw his attention, and once he calls your name, your fate is sealed. The Dullahan's roots stretch back to the ancient Celtic god Crom Dubh, also known as Crom Cruach. This fertility deity demanded a terrible price for his blessings: human sacrifice through decapitation. As Christianity spread across Ireland, the worship of Crom Dubh waned, but his dark influence persisted. Legend has it that the frustrated god, deprived of his gruesome offerings, took on the form of the Dullahan to continue his grim harvest of souls. This transformation from deity to demon reflects the collision of pagan and Christian beliefs in Ireland's turbulent history. The Dullahan, then, is not merely a ghost or spirit, but the vengeful remnant of a once powerful god, eternally seeking the sacrifices he was denied. Picture a figure cloaked in darkness, riding a horse as black as midnight. The Dullahan's most striking feature is, of course, his lack of a head upon his shoulders. Instead, he carries his own decapitated head, holding it high like a macabre lantern. The head's flesh is said to have the consistency and appearance of moldy cheese or stale bread, its features twisted in a perpetual grin. The eyes, unnaturally large and constantly moving, glow with a faint phosphorescence, allowing the Dullahan to see across vast distances and even through the walls of homes. His whip, fashioned from a human spine, cracks through the air as he rides. The Dullahan's horse is often described as headless as well, its eyes blazing like infernal coals. The Dullahan's purpose is singular and chilling: to announce the imminent death of mortals. As he rides through the countryside, he calls out the names of those whose time has come. Once a name is spoken, that person's fate is sealed, and death will claim them before the next dawn. The Dullahan possesses an uncanny ability to find his targets, no matter where they might hide. His supernatural sight allows him to peer into the homes of the dying, marking them for their final journey. This grim task makes the Dullahan one of the most feared creatures in Irish folklore, a literal embodiment of the inevitability of death. Beyond his role as a herald of doom, the Dullahan possesses a range of terrifying abilities. It's said that all gates and doors will unlock themselves as he approaches, ensuring no barrier can prevent him from reaching his intended victim. The Dullahan can strike observers blind with a mere flick of his whip or by tossing a basin of blood in their face. His very presence can cause crops to wither and milk to sour. Perhaps most disturbingly, the Dullahan is known to use human body parts as tools and weapons. In some tales, he's described as riding in a wagon made of human bones. The wheels crafted from human spines. The Dullahan is not a constant presence in the mortal world. He appears most frequently after sunset on certain festivals and feast days, particularly those with pagan roots. All Hallows' Eve, the night when the veil between worlds is thinnest, is especially favored by the Dullahan. On these nights, the wise stay indoors, windows shuttered and doors locked, though such precautions may prove futile against the Dullahan's supernatural abilities. The sound of approaching hoofbeats on these dark nights is enough to strike terror into the hearts of even the bravest souls, for it may herald the approach of the dreaded headless horseman. Throughout Irish history, there have been numerous reported encounters with the Dullahan. One chilling account tells of a man who, hearing the sound of galloping hooves, peered out his window to see the Dullahan stop on a nearby hill. The terrified witness quickly covered his ears, fearing the Dullahan might call his name. When he dared to look again, the apparition had vanished. However, shortly after, a terrible car accident occurred on that very hill, claiming a young man's life. It's believed that it was this unfortunate soul's name that the Dullahan had called. Despite his fearsome reputation, the Dullahan is not without vulnerabilities. The creature has an intense aversion to gold, which acts as a powerful deterrent. Even a small amount of this precious metal, when thrown in the Dullahan's path, can cause him to flee in terror. In the past, when the legend of the Dullahan was at its height, Irish families would often keep a small piece of gold ready, just in case the headless horseman came calling. This weakness provides a rare glimmer of hope for those who might find themselves in the Dullahan's crosshairs. The legend of the Dullahan has left an indelible mark on Irish culture. For centuries, parents have used the tale to warn children against wandering out after dark or misbehaving. The Dullahan has inspired countless works of art, literature, and even modern media. His influence can be seen in everything from traditional Irish ballads to contemporary horror films. The enduring popularity of the Dullahan speaks to the deep-seated fears and fascinations that this legend taps into: the mystery of death, the power of ancient gods, and the thin line between the natural and supernatural worlds. While the Dullahan is distinctly Irish in origin, his influence has spread far beyond the Emerald Isle. The concept of a headless horseman has appeared in folklore and literature around the world, often bearing striking similarities to the Dullahan. Perhaps the most famous example is the Headless Horseman in Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which, while set in America, draws clear inspiration from Celtic traditions. The Dullahan's legacy can also be seen in various forms of popular culture, from video games to graphic novels, cementing his place in the global pantheon of supernatural entities. Scholars and folklorists have long debated the deeper meanings behind the Dullahan legend. Some see it as a personification of death itself, a way for ancient cultures to give form to the abstract concept of mortality. Others interpret the Dullahan as a cautionary tale about the dangers of the night and the importance of respecting ancient traditions. From a historical perspective, the evolution of Crom Dubh into the Dullahan could represent the way pagan beliefs were demonized and transformed as Christianity took hold in Ireland. These various interpretations add layers of complexity to the Dullahan myth, making it a rich subject for study and discussion. Even in our modern, skeptical age, the legend of the Dullahan continues to captivate and terrify. While few may claim to believe in the literal existence of a headless horseman, the Dullahan's symbolic power remains strong. In rural areas of Ireland, there are still those who are reluctant to travel certain roads at night, especially on traditional feast days. The Dullahan has also found new life in the digital age, becoming a popular subject for online storytelling and urban legends. This enduring fascination suggests that, despite our technological advances, we still harbor a deep-seated fear of the unknown and the supernatural. The persistent appeal of the Dullahan legend raises intriguing questions about human psychology. Why do we find such a gruesome figure so compelling? Some psychologists suggest that tales like the Dullahan serve as a way for us to confront our fears of death and the unknown in a controlled, fictional context. The headless aspect of the Dullahan might represent our fear of losing our identity or consciousness. Furthermore, the Dullahan's role as a harbinger of death could be seen as a way of making sense of the seemingly random nature of mortality. By personifying death as a specific entity, we create the illusion of order in a chaotic universe. As Ireland modernizes and traditional beliefs fade, there are concerns about preserving folklore like the Dullahan legend. Efforts are being made by cultural organizations and individual storytellers to keep these tales alive, recognizing their importance to Ireland's cultural heritage. Festivals, storytelling events, and educational programs all play a role in introducing new generations to the Dullahan and other figures from Irish mythology. These preservation efforts not only maintain a link to the past, but also ensure that the wisdom and warnings embedded in these legends continue to resonate with contemporary audiences. And so, the Dullahan rides on, his flaming eyes piercing through the veil of night, his laughter echoing in the hearts of those who dare to listen. Perhaps you think this is just a story, a legend spun from fear and superstition. But tell me, when you hear the sound of hooves in the distance, will you dismiss it as thunder? Or will you wonder if he's coming for you? Asterisk. Remember, death doesn't knock, it rides.